my dear students. Hope you are all fine. I welcome you all to our channel Mind Mapping. Let's recall. In our last class, we discussed changes in chemical reaction. So, how to write a chemical reaction? Chemical reaction are expressed or written in form of chemical equation. Simply, a chemical equation represents a chemical reaction. So let us learn today how to write a chemical equation and how to balance chemical reactions. That's why we have taken the topic balancing chemical equations, why and how. Let's start. A chemical equation. Now look at the first equation, that is zinc plus sulfuric acid, zinc sulfate, hydrogen. That example that we have taken from activity 1.3 of your textbook, NCERT textbook. So let us discuss. If chemical equation has two parts. The left side is called reactants and the right side is called products. You see here two reactants, zinc and sulfuric acid. Here two products, zinc sulfate and hydrogen. And when there are two or more reactants or products, we write a plus sign between them. And the reactant may be single or the product may be single or the reactant may be one or more. Similarly, the product may be one or more. When two or more reactants or products are found, we generally use a plus sign between them. Then another important thing, please remember, both reactants and products are written in their molecular formulae. And another point, there is an arrow mark that separates LHS and RHS. And the head of the arrow indicates the duration of a reaction. And it points out the products formed in the reaction. So, as per the law of conservation of mass, you have already learned in class 9. The mass is neither created nor destroyed. As per that principle, or based on that principle, the mass of the reactors should be equal to the mass of the products. For that reason, we have to balance a chemical equation. That answer question is hereby. So let us see. Let us check whether this chemical reaction is a balanced one or not balanced. How to check? So the principle is the number of atoms of different elements in the reactants should be equal to the number of atoms of different elements present in the products. So let's make a table and count them one by one. So now look at. So this is the table. Now you see three columns. Here element, number of atoms reactants, number of atoms products. So here you see zinc, one atom, and reactant, one atom. And here hydrogen, two atoms, and here hydrogen, two atoms. Sulfur, reactant, one atom, and product also one atom. Oxygen, four atoms, and four atoms. So these are the elements present in this reaction. First list the elements, then count their atoms. Now if you compare atoms of different elements of both the sides are equal. That's why we call it a balanced reaction. We need not balance it. So let's take another example that we have taken from activity 1.2 of your NCERT textbook. Now look at lead nitrate reacts with potassium iodide to form lead iodide plus potassium nitrate. We have already discussed this reaction in our last class. So in this reaction, the color changes from colorless to yellow and yellow solid precipitates are formed. We have already discussed. So let's check whether this chemical equation is a balance or not. Let's write as per the principle what are the elements present in the reaction. That is lead, nitrogen, oxygen, potassium, and iodine. Let's compare. So reactant 1 and reactant 1, this is okay. Nitrogen, reactant 2, product 1. So here is the difference. Oxygen, you see 6 in the reactant and product 3. Potassium 1, 1 and iodine 1 and 2. And here is, so we find 3 differences in case of nitrogen, oxygen and iodine. So please remember one point here. Here nitrogen is a polyatomic group. When 2 is multiplied, so that is 2 nitrogen atoms and 6 hydrogen atoms. You see, we have written here. This is very important, and some students they commit mistakes. Anyway, so when we compare, we find the differences. Like the atoms of reactants with the and the atoms present in the products are not equal. Hence, this chemical reaction is an unbalanced chemical reaction and it is called a skeletal reaction. Now question arises, how to balance a skeletal or an unbalanced chemical equation. So let us follow the heat and trial method. So step 1, first write the reactants and products in rectangular boxes. This is the step number 1. Then from the table, select which element has maximum number of atoms. Now we find oxygen. First attack oxygen. So let us try to balance oxygen atom first. So here look at, in the reactants, oxygen is present in nitrate group. This is a polyatomic group. So the initial stage we find the nitrogen 2 atoms and oxygen 6 atoms. So oxygen here 6 and nitrogen 2. But in the RHS or reactants, we find oxygen present in nitrate, that is potassium nitrate. Okay, that is potassium nitrate. Now, initially what we find? Oxygen 3 atoms, nitrogen 1 atom, and potassium 1 atom. But we have to make oxygen 6. What we have to do? So naturally we have to multiply 2. Now you see we have multiplied 2 here. We have multiplied 2 here. So when we multiply 2, so what result we get? So we get oxygen 6, nitrogen 2 and potassium 2. Then another problem arises. Now let us focus on the iodine and nitrogen is over and let us focus on iodine. So in step 3, let us take atoms of potassium and iodine. Initially, you see in Ki, potassium iodide, what number of potassium 1 and iodine 1. But in reactants, that iodide is present in form of lead iodide. So number of lead 1 and iodine 2. So we have to means balance iodine here. So what we have to do? Here iodine 1, here iodine 2. So we have to multiply 2 here. So you see this we have multiplied 2. So when we multiply 2, what result we get? So potassium 2 atoms and iodine 2 atoms. Here iodine 2 atoms. So here we multiply 1, no question of multiplying any other number. Now we get, now actually we got a balanced reaction. That is potassium nitrate PbNO3O2 plus potassium iodide. So 2 potassium iodide. Now you see 2 is multiplied here and 2 is multiplied. And reactants lead iodide, okay, and plus 2 potassium nitrate. The 2 multiplied here, now is 2 is multiplied here. So this is a balanced chemical reaction. Here another thing don't forget. So the reactants and products should be expressed, should be written in their physical state. That is solid denoted by small s, liquid small l, gas small g, and aqueous small a and q. So we have mentioned here lead nitrate liquid and 2 potassium iodide liquid and potassium lead iodide, that is solid precipitate, and 2 potassium nitrate, that is soluble solid, okay, so denoted by S. Now this is a balanced reaction. So what method we follow? That is called heat and trial method. Following these steps, so one by one we have to balance the atoms so that the number of atoms in the reactants will be the number of atoms present in the product, so that that equation will be a balanced one. Hope your concept is clear. In our next class, we shall discuss different types of reactions. Okay, thank you for watching. Stay tuned to see our next videos.